Zombie, Danny Ige. Wow.
Man, this is the thing. This is the thing. Like, John was saying how Korean Zombie had this whole thing where he looked like he was, putting out a weak mentality. Like he was saying how if I don't win this, then
I was saying that too. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah,
Yeah, but the reason why I was kind of like surprised that you guys, kind of underestimated Zombie is because Zombie, up to the point where he fought like Brian Ortega 2.0, he was like dominating like great guys.
yeah,
Moicano with a 1-2 to just knock him out. Frankie Edgar, like he made Frankie Edgar look like he didn't even belong in there with him. And
yeah,
Frankie Edgar has given like so many people problems. And like Dan Ige is like, pretty undersized. He's had like problems with people like 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 dominant tactical strikers who are also bigger. So I was kind of surprised, but Korean Zombie, he looked like super sharp in there. Not only did he fight smart, like with using a lot of the wrestling, but I thought he was getting the better of Dan Ige in the striking exchanges. I felt like he was feigning more. I felt like he just had the advantage overall with the strikes. I just think that Danny Ige is such a dog, and he has such a chin for his size that he was able to like stay in the fight, more than um, any other guy would have in his position. I will say this though, like towards the end of the fight, I did think that Dan Ige had a chance to win
yep,
because he caught um, Korean Zombie with a couple of good shots, but then he decided to engage in the clinch. So I don't know what's going on with these fighters, um, where they're like hurting their opponents in the fifth round and they're clinching with them. But I've been seeing some weird like things like IQ wise with a lot of these
yeah,
fighters. Like Danny Gay to me is like the definition of like compensating with his IQ, but for some reason in the fifth round he's not using it. So that's weird.
yeah. So like, I never doubted Korean Zombie because obviously he has the skills, but the interview kind of made me a little question what he was in the sport, considering that he's taken a lot of damage in his last, well, a lot of his fights actually. So Dan Ige just seemed like he was more so on his way up, and Zombie was kind of on the decline, not a hard decline, but just on the decline. But yeah, it seemed like Korean Zombie was a step ahead, even with the striking. His counters were sharper. He was more accurate with striking as well. Also more volume too. So, but Dan Ige didn't do horrible. It's just that Dan Ige was a step behind in every aspect. Um, but he is undersized for that division, so I feel like he's gonna have a tough battle in the top five.
Oh man,
Unfortunately,
can you imagine Dan Ige fighting like Max Holloway?
that's the thing. That's the
like
thing. Yes,
oh man,
like
son.
Dan Ige, he's skilled. He has the skills, but that disadvantage with the height and sometimes reach could play, because I noticed during Queen versus Korean Zombie he was reaching a lot. He was doing a lot of lunging strikes, and he wasn't landing a lot of those strikes. So Korean Zombie, great performance. It wasn't the best fight of the night. It wasn't a bad one, but yeah, there's not much really to say about it.
Yeah, my thing with the featherweight division is there's too many like uphill battles for him up there. So you have like I'll just name a few people who I think will give him hell. So you have Max Holloway, of course. Kelvin Cater, he just couldn't get past certain
Yeah,
barriers with
yep,
Kelvin Cater, right? So he obviously lost Kelvin Cater. You got I don't know if Zabit is still fighting, but you got Zabit. You got Yair Rodriguez. Yair
yeah.
Rodriguez can do some crazy damage on the outside. You have what's this guy's name? Giga Chikadze.
Oh yeah, he's there too. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Giga Chikadze, who you can't even really get within boxing range against a guy like Giga Chikadze. You know what I mean? Like these guys are huge. Dan
yeah,
Ige is literally like a bantamweight in there.
yeah.
Now, if he goes back to like Oh yeah, Volkanovski. Volkanovski is too much.
Also, yeah,
Volkanovski, Brian Ortega. Like, what are you gonna do to Brian Ortega? You understand what I'm saying? What is Dan Ige
I
gonna do
agree.
to Volkanovski?
Yeah,
So that's a
yeah,
problem for him. Now, um, I feel like his chances are way better in the bantamweight division. I feel like he could beat Piotr Jan for sure. I feel like he can give like guys like Sean O'Malley a crazy fight.
yeah.
Um, the only guy I see giving him a serious problem is Sandhagen, because Sandhagen just does everything so fast and with so much volume. You understand what I'm saying? But even that is a good fight. So
Yeah.
I don't know what he's doing in featherweight. Like don't get me wrong, it's a feel good story whenever he gets a win in the featherweight division, but you just can't help but think that, damn son, like you got a long road,
Yeah,
to get that title.
a
You and
very
you and
long
everything
road.
has to go perfectly. Like you got to win all those fights. So that's my
Yeah,
thoughts.
and that's the thing. Even though people who are undersized might have the skills, you're gonna have wars with people who have that advantage in weight or height. You're gonna have wars. Even if you have the skills, if people are just as skilled or even a little less skilled, but they still have an advantage there, you're gonna have a war with them. So it's gonna drain you by the time you get to the top five of the division. You're already gonna be in too many wars. So yeah, I agree with that. Speaking of different divisions, Marlon versus Davy Grant, right? Now that division is already stacked. One guy is ranked number 15, the other guy's not even ranked. And that was an incredible fight. So think about how crazy the division is becoming too. You get what I'm saying?
Oh man, son. Um, this guy Cheeto Vera. Cheeto Vera is a very interesting fighter, because you can clearly see that he's not Cheeto Vera is not a phenom. You can clearly see that. Like
Yeah,
he's not some like crazy gifted athlete like Corey Sandhagen
yeah,
or Sean O'Malley. But he just like chips away at you, and he uses like minimal energy like in his fights. Like he's so fucking efficient when he fights.
yeah.
So
Listen, yeah,
if you look at him the way he ends the fight, he barely has a scratch on his face, and he was just in a war. And Davy Grant looks like he got raped by a raccoon, like after that fight. So he does everything with maximum efficiency,
yeah,
and he's also just nasty in there. Like he's a savage, he's mean, he's everything you want in a fighter, which makes me think that, and man, so he has a lot of things going for him, right? He's efficient, he has amazing cardio on top of that, right? He already has good cardio, but he's also efficient, so he's maximizing his cardio even more because he's not explosive. But then he's also very technically sound, because he's not, even though Davy Grant was unleashing hell on him,
yes,
catching him with
yeah,
some crazy, nasty, unpredictable shit, and somehow he was getting his arm up to block. He was out of danger most of the fight. Um, I don't know how that Sean O'Malley fight goes again,
again,
because he's Sean O'Malley has to get him out of there. Now, granted, Sean O'Malley has like a lot of random shit that he can throw, and he has a lot of like crazy feints and stuff like that. So he can definitely get him out of there. But if you don't get him out of there, you have to deal with, like, he's gonna be in your face
yeah, yeah,
the whole time. Like, I haven't seen one fight since his fight with Lineker. I haven't seen one fight where his opponent wasn't in danger like the entire fight.
yeah. So like you said, he withstood hell from Davy Grant. A barrage of punches, kicks, spinning attacks, different attacks, like, that entire round. And Davy Grant landed some hard shots on him too. He survived all of that, and it seemed like he was a hungrier fighter too. It seems like he the killer instinct, he kept that through the whole fight. Those elbows were beautiful.
That was the elbow combo.
That
Like
was a beautiful combination.
how often do you see elbow combos?
Oh man, a brilliant combination. dude.
And he did it was like a 3 or 4 elbow combination, and you just start seeing blood squirt out of fucking Davy Grant's head. Like I
Yeah,
was just
man.
like, yo, what the hell is going on? That came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere.
How do you do that much damage with that little, segment of the fight? You understand what
That
I'm saying?
that
That's what
was
I talk about.
vicious.
Like he's mad efficient.
And even on the ground, he landed some nice elbows too on the ground. So as far as him versus Sean O'Malley, again, so I'm on a hype train of O'Malley, and I feel like a big difference, a key difference in the rematch would be the speed. I feel like Sean O'Malley's speed is deceptive, especially the way that he feints and then attacks. He's very tricky. Sometimes he knows to get a read on. So the best bet is to slow him down with leg kicks and all that stuff and land
Mm-hmm.
him. That's the best bet to slow down his movement and slow down his feints and everything else like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but who knows, man? Because Sean O'Malley, who knows? Because Sean O'Malley, it's hard to really tell what's going on with him. Because like he looks like a phenom still, even after the loss. But it's like, does he have a weak spot too? It's hard to really know what's going on with Sean O'Malley. But that would be a cool fight to see again. Sean O'Malley's fighting. Who he fighting again? Next.
Um, I forgot this guy's name. He's Samoan. Um, I forgot
He's
his name.
basically, yeah, he's basically fighting somebody who's like one ranking up or something, or like it's not even a serious, a big challenge or a move in my opinion. Um,
I don't know what they're
Lewis
doing, man.
Smoker, is Smoker
Yeah,
he's fighting?
Smoker. Yeah, Smoker. Smoker.
I mean, Smoker's a tough fighter, so I guess they're trying to like build him really slow. I don't know, but that
And give him
division,
somebody, man.
somebody,
Like,
yeah,
like
Cruz or
give,
something, yeah, yeah,
yeah, like someone, man. Like, give him Davy Grant. Like, I would have been more, I would have been more happy with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, Davy Grant is a savage. He's a dog.
yeah,
Like, so I don't know. Like, but at the same time, if he loses to Smoker, imagine how much slower they're gonna build him. That nigga will never fight somebody in the top 15.
Hold on.
But
So Smoker on the, all right. Smoker beat Okay, Smoker's record isn't too bad. It's not too bad.
I mean, Smoker's a dog, but I just want to see O'Malley like fight someone who like if he beats that guy,
Yeah,
he's in good company. Like
yeah.
Sean O'Malley is like a top dude. Like he's like a top 10 dude. Give him a top
Yeah.
10 dude. And this might be
Well,
the slowest build I've seen in the UFC history.
I'll say this: Lewis Smoker has been on a tear of finishes. Last fight, Jose Quinones TKO, and then he lost to Casey Kenny by submission. Ryan McDonald TKO, he won. Sue TKO submission TKO. So it is a dangerous fight. You know, Lewis Smoker has been finishing everybody in his last 6 wins in the UFC. So
Cheeto Vera is a dangerous fight.
yeah, he
Like
is. He is.
or Song Yadong. You understand what I'm saying? Like give him someone like that. Song Yadong.
But like
Cheeto
I said,
Vera.
yeah.
But whatever.
What the hell is Lil Smoker even ranked? Is he ranked at all?
I don't think so.
Uh, I don't know, but anyway, next fight,
Yeah. Matt
Matt
the
the
Immortal
Immortal
Brown.
Brown. Yes, yes.
Matt the Immortal Brown. Bro.
Yo,
Now
this
what you
dude,
say?
this dude in his 40s now. He's in his 40s now. It seems like he's still he's one of those old guys that can still throw down and compete with the young guys. Like he's showing, yeah, like I'm old, but I'm old, but I'm old school. I can still take out you young bucks. You know what I mean? And that first round, I'm like, okay, it's looking kind of questionable. The leg kicks are landing flush, and then out of nowhere, he weathers the storms, keeps the pressure, and he sleeps the dude. He sleeps him. Not TKO. He sleeps him. Beautiful shot, man. man, Matt Brown, this dude has turned back the clock. Who knows what else he's able to do in that division? He just finished a young guy who's very skilled. Finished a young guy like that. Impressive.
Yeah, like Matt Diamoto Brown, he's one of the dudes who are from like the zombie era. And he fights he's one of those guys who fights like a zombie and just brings it like the whole time. He's always been that guy who is not gonna is not gonna be the guy who dominates the division, but he's gonna give all the people who dominate the division hell. You know what I'm saying? There's no fight where you go unscathed that he's participating in. Like there's never it's that's never gonna happen. So in this fight, like he's one of those people who you're always gonna be in danger with. So like he was taking so much damage like to that leg. Like I thought that leg was gonna be trash. Like in
Yeah.
like
Yep.
by the time the second round came, all he just marches forward. So that's how. And let me tell you, like this guy, Diego Lima had great footwork. He was out of danger most of the time. I was like, yeah, there's no way Matt is gonna win this fight. But you can't be on your back foot
Yeah.
most of the time for the whole time. You know what I'm saying? You can't like Tyson Fury is a perfect example of that. He knew that he couldn't go through another fight where he's fighting on his back foot the
Yep.
whole time against
Yep.
Deontay Wilder, or else he was going to sleep. So he knew that he had to be the guy to like march forward. I still don't think Deontay Wilder is going to be able to like make that adjustment and
Yeah.
move forward the whole time against someone who doesn't give a fuck like Tyson Fury. But man, with the Matt Brown and Diego fight, that was pinpoint accuracy. Like he just dipped his head lower, avoided the big shot, and it just caught him like right on the jaw. And shout outs to him, like he didn't continue like with follow up shots
Yeah.
like on the
Yeah.
ground. He saw that like he face
He
planted.
slept. That
Yeah,
was it. That was it.
but you know what's crazy? Someone like me, like my mentality is so vicious. Like when I'm in a fight, like I feel like I could see someone face plant and I'd still want to keep swinging. Why? Because I've also seen shit like Cruz. I've seen Cruz face plant against Cody and just rise back up like a
Yeah.
fucking like an exorcism. That's what I mean. So
But this was like, but this wasn't our only face plant. This is like he died. You know what I'm talking about? Like a example, but the mentality you have is the mentality like Jorge has. You know, like we knocked out Ben Askren. Ben Askren was stiff as a board. Like Ben Askren was basically in a coma, and he still was landing haymakers on the ground at his head. So that's like a vicious war, kill or be killed mentality to have.
yeah. I think Jorge takes it even a step further than me because like where I'd probably do some vicious ground and pound like Jorge says like super necessary.
Yeah.
At the same time, like Jorge, even after that, was like tapping on the mat on the canvas. He was like, talk that shit. And then on top of it, he mocks him
Yeah.
afterwards and like falls down like a stiff dude or whatever. So Jorge is like next level, like with that type
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
with that type of mentality. But
Yeah.
I have it up to the point like of the finish, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Jorge has that street mentality. You know what I mean? He has that hood mentality. Like, yo, we in the streets now. You know, like
Yeah,
he
yeah.
talk all that trash, you're gonna pay for it. So yeah, definitely, man. Um, real quick. Let's touch on this real quick. The Silva versus Julio Chavez Jr. fight. So I gotta say, I'm happy to see MMA get one back and against a legend. Even though he's not a legend like his father, he's still a legendary name, and he was still a farmer champion. Farmer champion over 50 fights, pro fights, 10 years younger, versus an MMA fighter who didn't box in like 16 years, who only had like two pro fights in boxing. Silver, impressive, man. Like that has to feel good to know that a legend like him went to boxing. You know, his dream. and was able to beat a legend like that in Mexico at his father's event. Canelo afterwards went to there's a photo of Canelo going to Silva and give him like a congratulations, like respect. Incredible, man.
Yeah, no, I'm happy for Silva because you can tell that there's nothing that Silva loves doing more than fighting. You know what I mean? Like you could tell that Silva is gonna be doing some kind of fighting until the wheels fall off. Because as many times as he's gotten viciously finished in his last, few fights or whatever, like his leg broken, all that kind of stuff, you could tell there's nothing he wants to do more.
Yeah,
So, and another thing, and I'm
yeah,
I'm impressed by the fact that he was able to beat, Julio Chavez Jr.
yeah,
Because Julio Chavez Jr. You gotta understand, like these people, they bleed boxing. You know what I mean? These guys are boxing. If you're like the son of like a guy like Terrence Crawford or a legendary boxer, there's certain things you just pick up just from being around the sport,
yep,
let alone being involved in the sport and actually being a professional boxer. Like you said, he was a champion. You know what I'm saying? So Anderson Silva, like he gave it up for the MMA community. Now
yeah.
I don't know if you
Even
want to
Jake
transition
Paul.
into Woodley, huh?
Oh, I would leave real quick. Jake Paul tweeted him and said, "Congratulations to the Silva. You know, it will be an honor to have you on the card fighting Roy Jones Jr. On the card with me and Whitley, you versus Roy Jones. Um, I think that would be a good fight. Honestly, I think at this age it would be a good fight. I'm not saying he'll win, but I think it'll be a good fight for
Man,
sure. He's
Roy Jones hits hard, man.
he
Like he
does.
he
Listen,
actually hits hard.
Julio caught Silva with a nasty body shot, and Silva didn't budge.
No, I'm talking about in the head. Like
Oh.
Roy Jones. Roy Jones is like one of the hardest hitters of his division, like ever.
Yeah,
He's
but
not. You understand what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
of the divisions that he fought
yeah.
in.
But
Um,
I feel like at this age, plus you know, at this age, and Silva has felt power versus heavyweights. You know, and at the age, it's kind of evenly fight. So I believe that Silva wants to fight versus Logan Paul next. But I think it'll be better for him versus Roy Jones Jr. They were supposed to fight anyway years ago, so why not do it now?
yeah,
You know,
it'll do more for him to fight Roy Jones as far as like legacy.
especially now, yeah. And Whitley versus once again Whitley versus Jake Paul and Belfort versus who's he fighting again? De La Hoya. It's confirmed.
Man, that's so weird, right? I that's a guy I never looked at Belfort as a boxer.
Here's
I
what's
just looked at
crazy,
him
man.
as like a brute, like a super brute force of nature. Like, but I never saw him like a guy who was like technical or with his boxing skills.
Here's what's crazy about Belfort. He commented on Whitley fight. He said Whitley being the fighter for MMA and boxing match is disgraceful. Whitley's not a boxer. And he goes, my daughter is a better boxer than Whitley. You know, because she's been boxing since she was 7. Like we've been training her since she was 7 years old. Um, so I don't know, man. He's talking confidently like he can box. We'll see what happens. But versus De La Hoya, so Belfort is going to be the bigger guy for sure. He's going to be the bigger guy. So I don't think De La Hoya is going to be able to knock him out or anything.
You think Vitor Belfort is a good boxer?
I listen. I have no idea because sometimes it's hard to read that within this. The example, a lot of people probably didn't think that Silva was a good boxer either because of how he looks in MMA. Like it's a different kind of striking, so it's hard to sometimes tell the realm
Engage.
when there's like different stances things to worry about in MMA. Hell, hey, Belfort might surprise us and have a nice boxing stance, and with just boxing, he might have a different kind of stance and everything. We don't
I
know.
see what you're saying. Yeah,
So,
like Frank
so
Mir. Frank Mir is a better boxer than I thought he was.
yeah, Frank Man lasted. Frank Man fought an animal. Actually, that guy's a beast. He was an old guy, but he's older now. But Frank Bay lasted every round and landed some good shots of his own. So Belfort might actually surprise everybody with the size advantage. As far as
Yeah.
Woodley versus Jake Paul, do you still have Jake Paul beating Woodley by finish,
So I do.
or
It pains me. It pains me to say it because I love MMA so much, but I think a 4 fight losing streak puts pressure on Woodley. Because think about it: if Jake Paul has nothing to lose and everything to gain. If he loses to Woodley, he's supposed to lose to a world champion, a 5-time world champion from the UFC,
yeah,
and he's gonna make millions in the process. But if Woodley loses to a Disney YouTuber, you know what I'm saying? A Disney YouTuber as a 5-time world champion for the UFC, um, that not only makes him look bad, but that makes the UFC look questionable. Like it makes the UFC look like it's not really like legit. Like these are not legit champions. And then I also feel like Woodley psychologically um, has pressure on himself.
yeah.
Like imagine the pressure that Woodley put on himself to not lose to Colby Covington, and he ended up looking as bad as he possibly could against a guy like Colby Covington. So don't I'm pretty sure he'll put the same exact pressure on himself to beat Jake Paul.
Hmm.
And when you combine that with the fact that Jake Paul actually does have, the weight advantage, he does have some skills. I don't know, man.
Actually,
I don't like what it looks like for Woodley mentally
as
too.
far as far as the weight advantage, it's actually pretty even
Okay.
for the first time so far. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, it's gonna be the high advantage. Yeah, weight advantage is actually pretty even. So this is gonna be an actual the biggest guy that Jake Paul's gonna fight so far. As far as weight, that's gonna be interesting. But I kind of feel like I'm not sure how confident Jake Paul is if he has a rematch clause in the contract, which he didn't have with anybody else. You know what I'm saying? I feel like even there's some doubt in his mind. Like,
Mm,
okay, Willie can knock me out. You know what I'm saying? So in
right.
case, I'll put this clause in the contract, so that way we can do it again. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you mentioned the losing streak. I agree with that, but I also feel like there's less pressure in some ways too, because he's now free from the stress of the UFC and Dana White. I feel like that whole situation was stressing him out too. Dana White not really believing in him feeling like everybody was against him, all this stuff. I feel like now that he's making more money, he's a bit more free too. So I, I'm gonna ride with Willie in this one. Um, I'm gonna go Woodley by second round knockout. If Jake Paul beats Woodley, I won't doubt Jake Paul ever again. versus a lot of fighters. Like finally, I'll say, okay, Jake Paul, you got it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially if he knocks out Woodley, I'm like, all right, you know, do it as a boxer, you know. But
And
for
he
now, Ben Askren came in, pot belly, flat footed. He fought a basketball player before then, who came in like this with his head low, who never boxed in his life, never fought in his life. He fought a YouTuber. I
right.
don't know. Like we haven't seen him fight anyone that actually is firing at him, firing back at him. We haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen that yet.
One thing I will say, right, to wrap this up, Jake Paul, I think, deals with pressure very well. He's very okay with being the heel of like, you know, like a whole sport, and because the thing is, like Jake Paul, and he's so bold, right? That also
Yeah,
shows me that he's able to handle a lot of pressure. Like the fact that he can like go there and like take Floyd Mayweather's hat and run away, like that's like, you know what I'm saying, like that's like making like God bleed. You know what I'm saying? Like we're talking about like a god of the boxing world. You take his hat and you're
yeah,
getting your ass whipped. Like Like they're coming at you, and you're still yelling, "I got your hat! I got your hat!" You understand what I'm saying? So that alone shows a certain level of being able to handle the pressure. On top of him being under the bright lights and I guess knocking out Ben Askren in the first round. Like he could have been a little bit, shaky in that first round and not been able to do anything. And then progress as the fight went. But right away he was able to put Ben Askren away. And Ben Askren has fought like really good strikers like his whole career. So
Yeah, but yeah, okay. So as far as that goes, I think that he's used to the pressure and lights, and also too, he's one of those guys whose privilege helps him out. Because sometimes when you're that privileged and rich, you're too dumb for your own good. I don't mean dumb. I mean like he's just like I'm rich.
it's like these are pawns.
Yeah, exactly.
These are pawns, like
because
peasants.
he believes that he's one of the best boxers. He believes that in his mind. Sometimes that confidence can actually help you in manifesting real results. So
Yeah,
sometimes being too ignorant for your own good, or sometimes not being in reality can be a good thing. Sometimes being delusional can help you actually get results. It might sound crazy, but but it can.
that is
And
true.
that's what he reminds me of.
Yep. It's kind of like Sean O'Malley, like he's undefeated.
Yeah, but it helped him, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So that wraps up today's episode. Stay tuned next week. What we got going on next week? What card we got going on?
We got Serogan versus Vulcan.
Oh, that's gonna be a good one.
Yeah,
So I got Cyril Gahn on that one.
same here, man. Serogan's movement. Serogan, I think that people are judging him by his last fight, which is kind of boring. I think Serogan is going to put him away this fight.
All right, that covers it. Peace out. See you guys next week. Make sure you subscribe. Peace
All right,
out.
all right, later, y'all.